Well, first of all, with most colleges, they're a tempo team. With the read zone stuff, you got a quarterback that can run it as well as, hand it off, so you got to be disciplined there. When you look at them, they got some skilled guys outside that have made some plays for them over the last couple of weeks. I think they're well coached in what they're doing. The biggest thing to me, it's always about us and how we play and how we perform and making sure we execute. It's a home game, it's a conference game. So being that it's that, we understand the importance of the game and we got to be ready to play.
I think this is the third true freshman quarterback that you guys are preparing for. Is there any sort of unpredictability that comes with that when you're prepping for?
I mean, you don't have as much tape to watch guys and that kind of thing. And generally speaking, those guys are really trying to build as the season goes with what they're doing. So you always see things added each week, whereas sometimes with a guy that's a little bit older, you can go back on some tape and see things. The three quarterbacks that we saw, things were kind of done for the first time, and we had to adjust as we move forward. Guys did a good job with that. So, again, really it kind of goes back to us and how we play and what we do, and that needs to be the focus, is us doing our job and taking care of our business.
They don't seem to have much success so far in the running game. And how have teams tried to limit that and been effective?
Well, I mean, they've loaded the box to force the young quarterback to try to throw it and to do those kind of things. And, anytime you do that, you're going to be one-on-one outside. They've taken some shots out there and probably haven't had as many as they'd like. You've always got that to deal with anytime you try to load the box on somebody. So, we're going to mix it up, be balanced. I mean, I think if you go too much one way or the other and people can predict, you get a chance that you can give up a play like that. So we want to try to be balanced in what we're doing and just try to basically execute the call and play fast.
What do you think it is about this defense or this year that has set Lorenzo Malden up to have the start to this year that he's had?
Well, I think, first of all, he's made the play outside linebacker in our system. I mean, when you look at a guy with his length, his burst off the ball, his athletic ability, he can do a lot of things, not only rush, but he can drop. He can also attract blockers to free other people up. And, like in the game, Saturday, he didn't necessarily have a sack, but he had 2 calls penalties that really were negative 10 yards. If they hadn't held him, he would have gotten a sack. And he really forced, a couple other guys to get sacked. So he's affected the game. When you got a guy like that, people are going to always try to kind of, try to find ways to take him out of the game. So I think that it's important that you have flexibility in your system, that you can move him around, and you're not sure where he's going to wind up relative to the situation of down and distance. He's done a good job of learning that and, embracing that role. And as we continue to move forward, we'll build on that package and, let him play fast and use his ability.
What made Sheldon Rankin so effective this last game?
He's an explosive, powerful guy. I think if you look at a consistent player that we've had all the way from spring last year through the summer to now, he's a guy that he's really a leader by the way he performs and the way he works. He's got tremendous work ethic. He's hard to block. He plays with his hands well. When he's one-on-one, he wins a lot of downs. He can rush the passer as well as play the run. Been really pleased with him. I think he's really one of the core guys of our defense as far as what he brings to the table, in the meeting rooms, in the locker room, and on the field.
Another guy that has stepped up so far is Jeriah Holloman. How has he been so effective?
Holloman is a guy that reminds me of we had Bakari Rambo, who was pretty productive for us at Georgia. He does a good job of route reading, anticipating on the routes, and he can make plays on the ball. Being a safety, you got to be able to tackle. He's done a good job of tackling, and he's a physical player. And sometimes on his route reads, he may not have been able to get there to make the pick, but he dislodged the ball from the receiver and forced it to be an incomplete pass or a fumble. Been really pleased with where he's come relative to the spring to now, and continue to just work him and let him be a part of our defense.
What was the big adjustment he had to make from the spring that you could see?
I think it's just a matter of learning our system. He's really a smart guy and applying himself to where he can take command of the field, particularly his side of the field. He's a guy that I thought got in really good shape in the summer, and I think that when you're in good shape, it allows you to play fast longer and show your production and show the things that you can do. And really, I think when you start getting back to it, we've kind of done a lot of things over and over again, and he's a guy that the more he does things and sees things, he's pretty quick to pick up on it. And he's really been able to play fast with what we've asked him to do. And, really been pleased with his progress. We just got to continue to work him and put him in position that he can make those kind of plays.
Given his ability to read like that, do you start giving him more leeway to say, hey, if you see a play coming? I mean,
Well, that's the way I like to coach guys. I don't like to coach robots at any position. My thing is, it's kind of like parenting. You kind of got to give them the, the boundaries, but then they got to make the decisions. And then when you watch the tape, why did you make this decision? And you got to see what choice it is. I mean, there's always going to be boundaries from a coaching perspective with a player to say, hey, here are the things you can do. Here's your guidelines, but you got to go make plays, and you only got 1 to 2 seconds to do that. So you got to be able to play fast. So my coaching philosophy has always been able to try to give guys the freedom to make plays within the framework of the defense, understand the boundaries, and as long as guys continue to make good choices, then you continue with those guidelines. So that's kind of how I've approached it.
Since he's got 5 interceptions already, do you expect offenses to fade away from him?
Well, I think they'll know where he's at, obviously, relative to his ball skills and things like that. If they do, then I think it'll give up someone else a chance to make plays. That's the good thing about it is when a guy like, Lorenzo's on one side, then all of a sudden D-Mount gets a sack, to start the second half against FIU. I think that if that was the case, with Holloman, I think some other guys would step up.
How about Tremaine? Give him a little bit of a run there in the FIU game. You going to keep bringing him along, or is he going to see more time?
No, he's going to continue to get time. I mean, part of playing is a trust factor in developing that trust to show that when you get in the game you can perform and be ready to play. And I think he's done a really good job the last 2 to 3 weeks of learning how to prepare the way you need to prepare to play in this conference, to play at the level we want him to play at. And I think that, Saturday was a little bit of just scratching the surface what I think he can do. And we'll build on that and continue to work him and find ways to get him in the game.
All right, guys.
All right.